This is my trusty little vehicle that I use for all my adventures in Panama. It's called the Toyota FJ Cruiser and it's a 2007 model, and right now it looks like it's been through World War III. So let me clean her up and then I'll tell you all about why I chose this vehicle as my adventure chariot in Panama. Let's do this. So to tell you about this car and its capabilities, I decided to take it into its rightful setting and environment where it performs best. So let's go into the jungle. Okay, so we're back much later. The weather provided some challenges, and then I have some challenges of my own here now because my mic does not work. So I'm just using the camera audio. I am hoping this comes out well, but here we go. Quick mention, and I have to do an update video next week on Monday or Tuesday to let you know more. But I'd like to welcome my new channel sponsor, a brand called Pifia. It's a Panamanian brand. I have it on right now. And they decided to come on board and support not only the channel but to provide some of their attire and their apparel. It's one of the only sport brands out of Panama for the past 20 years, so they have quite a track record, and they're going to be releasing some surf stuff soon, so you know you're going to see me in that gear. So welcome on board, Pifia. Thank you for supporting us here at the channel. You can find a link in the description below to find out where you can purchase some of their gear, so stay tuned for more. Okay, so this is not going to be an in-depth review on the FJ Cruiser because there are so many of those videos on YouTube. I will link my favorite one that kind of describes the history, the legacy, all of that in that link in the description below. So check that out if you want more information. But I will be telling you about my experience with the FJ Cruiser so far and why I chose it. So this thing is a 2007 4.6 liter V6 from what I understand, power plant, and it's automatic, 4-wheel drive, and it's an absolute beast. This particular one has an iron bumper from ARB. There is a suspension lift 2.5 I believe from Dobinson suspension. It came with an LED bar, a roof rack, rock sliders, and some decent wheels on it. But I had to trade out the rims and tires that I had to something that had a little more offset to be able to clear the upper control arm with the wheels. So that's what this one came with. The FJ Cruisers come with 4 doors. Well, it's more like 2 doors and 2 half doors. The back doors open out in reverse like suicide doors, and that allows for easy access to the back row of seats, which happens to be quite comfortable. It does not look like it would be, but it's very comfortable back there with a lot of legroom. So why did I choose this particular vehicle over all the vehicles I could have chosen? Well, I did my research, and if you would have noticed, Panama has a lot of varying terrain, from the nicest long stretch of highway to the most challenging of terrains that you can possibly go through with a vehicle. You may turn off of a nice pretty highway with just pitch and end up in something pretty challenging in a matter of seconds just to get to a location that you want to get to. When I decided to embark on my Panamanian adventure, I knew I needed something super reliable, super bulletproof, and super capable. There were a couple options like the Toyota 4Runner, there were things like the Prado, but for what I wanted to do, I felt like this was the perfect vehicle. Not only is it extremely capable just stock, I mean, I got this particular one with some pretty useful modifications done to it already to make it even more capable, but just at stock, this thing comes very capable, and you can take it into some very challenging terrain and it will do just fine. Not only was I looking for the most capable thing, but I wanted to know that I would be able to get parts for it here. And thankfully this platform shares a lot of the same suspension parts and engine parts and so on from the 4Runners, the Tacomas. There are hundreds of 4Runners, hundreds of Prados, Land Cruisers. This is from the Land Cruiser line. Lots of them here in Panama, so I just figured, okay, this would be the best. It's not the most family-friendly vehicle that you can find in Panama, but it still gets the job done. There's a lot of space in the boot, in the back, enough comfort and legroom and headroom for 5 people to traverse Panama comfortably. So that would be the reason why I chose an FJ Cruiser out of all the vehicles here. So later on in the video, I'm going to tell you of the other vehicles that you can possibly get here in Panama that would be perfectly suitable for the kind of roads and terrain that they have here. I have put this car through its paces. I have put this thing into some crazy terrain, into situations that no car really should be going into. And it came out perfectly fine. To my surprise, I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. I know these things, I know the heritage, I know how capable they are, but it definitely surprised me several times. 2 in particular, where it ended up being the hero on the mission of several 4x4 vehicles that were way more jacked up and capable than this. And it ended up being the one at the end of the day to pull most of those vehicles out and get everybody home safely. So it was quite surprising. I have, as you would have seen in the footage, I have taken this thing to the top of Volcan Baru twice. For those people who not only live in Panama but have been to the top of Volcan Baru in a 4x4 before, they would know how challenging that terrain is. You're literally climbing a mountain in a vehicle. This thing did it twice in 2 weeks and came out with barely a scratch. I probably just got one of the rims slightly scratched up by one of the rocks, but this thing made it up and down that mountain twice. And it's fine. In addition, I've taken this thing to Kiki Waterfall twice, through water crossings twice. Oh, by the way, it has a snorkel as well, so that helps with the water crossings. It has been to Cambutal twice. It has been to Panama City several times from Boquete, so that's just normal asphalt road. It has been to Playa Benao. It has been to Santa Catalina. It has been to Bocas del Toro 4 times. It has done beach driving. It has done mud bogging. It has done rock climbing. All I've done is like simple maintenance, like oil changes. I changed the brakes. I have changed some bushing on the suspension, but like very minor little repairs based on the things that I've done for the past 6 to 8 months with this thing. I think any other car would be in half by now. I really put it through some serious challenges and this thing came out still going strong, still chugging along. The engine sounds great, suspension is doing its thing. I mean, what can I say? This place, it being Panama, would test any vehicle and I have really pushed this thing. I knew coming into this project that I would probably need something that could take me the distance, and this thing has taken me into Costa Rica where I didn't even realize I was in Costa Rica, and back.
I think I'm in Costa Rica.
And it just keeps going. I have very little problems with it. I've talked about all the good things. Of course, there are the little annoyances which I will get into a little later, but for the most part, this thing is perfect for what I need a vehicle to do.
Okay, let's talk about it. I am seeing a lot of interest in the comments about people coming to visit, people coming to consider relocating and want to rent somewhere, or just people who flat out want to relocate and buy property here, asking me about properties, the different areas to live in and so on. So my sponsor, Inside Panama Real Estate, has given me an email address that you can reach out to me, and I can channel you to the right people, the right properties and so on, so you can get your dream location and your dream home or your dream property. Be sure to email me at richard@ipreinfo.com, and we'll get right back to you with all the information that you will possibly need for finding property here and possibly relocating. So I have an incredible team that I'm working with. Shoot me that email and I will get you the right person. I'm very thankful to these folks at Inside Panama Real Estate for giving me the opportunity to provide you, my subscriber base and my viewers, with the information that you would need to relocate and find the properties that you so desire. Thanks, folks.
What have I repaired on this so far? The list is not that long, but there are a couple annoyances. So when I got the vehicle, the LED bar was installed by drilling through the rooftop, and because of that there was a leak on both sides where the drill holes were. Since then I've had somebody take it out, patch the top and replace it with proper brackets that connect to the roof rack. There's still some leaking when the rain falls heavily, so I still have to get that patched up. So that's one little annoyance. The other little annoyance is that there's some electrical problems, so that there are little nitty-gritty things like on the dashboard a light comes on when it shouldn't. When you engage 4x4, the light comes on, but when you take it out of 4x4, the light stays on. It doesn't actually, even though the 4x4 has been disengaged, it still doesn't say it's been disengaged. The A-track system, for those who are familiar with Toyota A-track, the button itself I believe does not work. So you press it and it does not engage, the light does not come on the dashboard. So I believe that's another electrical thing that needs to be taken care of. So back to the list of repairs. I've had to repair that roof thing. I've had to repair the lower cradle arm bushings because they were making some noise. Be reminded that this thing is a 2007 model vehicle, and these are not complaints, because for every little complaint that I have, there are 5 benefits or 5 pros about this vehicle that can counteract. One of the things that is not the best is gas mileage. This thing drinks. That 4-liter V6 is not economical. That's it. I haven't had to repair much on this thing. So I was not always into off-roading and overlanding and so on. I got into 4x4 action pretty late in life, and my first 4x4 was a Toyota Hilux. I tend to put my vehicles through its paces, and that one held up well. I learned a lot about off-roading on that vehicle. 3 years after, I owned a Ford Ranger, like a 2018 model, and that thing was a beast. Coming from that now back to Toyota, as far as reliability, as far as just capability and so on, it's actually been a good transition again back to Toyota. I have to admit, I did not like the look of this thing when it came out in 2007. And I saw it in Trinidad and I did not like it that much, and now I can't get enough. It just, the design grew on me. It's a beautiful vehicle, I must say, especially when you put the little modifications here and there. And I've seen some really nice ones online. There's a community on Facebook that I follow, and they have some really nice builds in there. From what I've heard, in the US at least, they stopped selling the FJ Cruiser in 2014 because the demand was not high enough. As such, the prices of these things continue to rise. They're almost a collector's item now, and there's such a fanatic community globally for these things that the prices keep going up. However, here in Panama, I see them ranging from $10,000 to maybe $19,000. depending on the condition, depending on the year, depending on the mileage, of course. But most of them were brought from the US and driven down here, and the prices are pretty good still. I expect them to rise as time goes by. They are appreciating in value. Other vehicles I would recommend for Panama, based on the fact that the roads are what they are. There are the X Trails that are pretty good. I see a lot of Prados on the road. I see a lot of 4Runners on the road. I would always recommend Toyota based on their reputation and years of reliability. They're pretty bulletproof, and then when something does break and you repair it with the actual original Toyota part, you don't have to worry about that part for years to come again. So there's a reason why they are across the world. They are used in the roughest, toughest terrains by the people who just need to beat the crap out of their vehicles. There's a reason why they choose Toyota. The Nissan Patrols are pretty good. Subarus do well here, but as far as finding parts for repair and so on could get a little pricey, but they're very capable vehicles. I would always recommend something that's more than a two-wheel drive here in Panama, something that's 4x4 or all-wheel drive, just based on the kind of terrain that you may encounter here. And I think you have lots of options where Toyota is concerned, from the Sequoias down to the Prados, down to the Land Cruisers, to the FJ Cruisers, the 4Runners. You have lots of options, all the way down to like a RAV4 all-wheel drive. And that's it. That's my opinion on the FJ Cruiser. This is why I chose it. This is what I've done with it so far, and you will be seeing a lot more of it as I do more adventures to bring to you. Would I recommend it to everybody? No. Would I recommend it to people who need a very fun, capable vehicle to explore? Yes, but it will all depend on if you're doing it by yourself, if you're doing it with a family. It all comes down to what you would want, but I highly, highly recommend it for adventures. So, until the next video, until the next adventure, thank you folks for listening and partaking in this somewhat review of the FJ Cruiser and why I would want it for Panama. Let's do this.